I'm Carla Reeves, and this is Differently. Whether you feel stuck in survival, navigating a change, or seeking more for your life, may this podcast be your weekly nudge to take a risk to build a life that is uniquely bold, authentic, and in alignment with your deepest values. What if you worried less about the bumps in the road and instead got equipped for the journey? Get ready to rethink what's possible. Summer is here, and here on the podcast, we are doing something a little different. This summer series will be made up of mostly simple, short, thought-provoking episodes to give you something short and sweet that you can apply right to your life. We will talk mindset, productivity, relationships, and more. If you're finding summer slipping by way too fast with a whole lot of doing, may today's episode be a reminder to slow down and make sure all this busy motion and doing is leading to the life you want to be living. The title of today's Mindset Camp episode is The Feeling of Being Enough Cannot Be Achieved by Doing. I am a recovering workaholic. Busyness consumed my mind and my time for years. I ran from minute to minute with time on my back, trying to fit in as much as I could. I worked hard to get better and faster so I could stuff in more doing. It seemed that if I could just fit in enough good doing, it would one day be enough, and that would mean I was enough. While my life was full and somewhat put together on the outside, I was bankrupt and empty on the inside. The day I finally admitted this truth to myself was the day things began to take a far different and more fulfilling shape. I knew there had to be a better way to living life, but I just didn't have a clue how to get there. I made it my mission to figure out a different way. And today I want to share 3 new ways of thinking I had to adopt in order to create a life that was far more meaningful. Number 1, the endless to-do list does not lead to fulfillment. I had to come to grips with the fact that no amount of checked off items on my to-do list would lead to the deeper level of fulfillment I craved. I was in the wrong lane to reach that destination. This path I had been on was a dead end, or rather, a bottomless pit. The lure of the list is so compelling and creates a convincing illusion that once we get these things checked off, complete, the milestone checked, we will be at last have arrived and feel like we've done enough and, more importantly, are enough. In reality, the good feelings were only fleeting, and to sustain them required me jumping back into the never-ending spin of doing. Accepting the reality of what I was doing is the very thing that allowed me to stop doing more and start doing differently. Number 2, enough, in quotes, is an inside job. Up until this point, I'd focused on the outside. I diligently spent enormous amounts of energy attempting to line things up on the outside, the job, the spouse, the marriage, the house, thinking that if enough things lined up, I'd feel better inside. That was a lie, and that didn't work. I began to see that my continued obedience to the list was never ending and guaranteed more of the same. I saw for the first time that I would need to cultivate enough inside before I could ever feel enough on the outside. And so I began tending the inside bit by bit. Number 3, enjoy the to-do lists for what they are. A surprising thing happened. As I worked on feeling better on the inside, things began looking different on the outside. I noticed that as I cleaned up my inner world of my thoughts, my perceptions, my feelings, my outer world began to reflect these changes. I knew I was onto something. As my relationship with myself changed, my relationship with the people and the things that were happening in my life improved. Even my relationship with that to-do list changed. I love lists. I still love lists. I just was given packs of sticky notes from my son for Mother's Day. The difference is the list is no longer running my life, but it's a tool that keeps me organized in my life. A client recently had a similar insight and beautifully said this in her journal. Quotes, I am recognizing that I need to change my perspective on my list. Instead of it overpowering me, it needs to empower me. My biggest discovery to date is that as I calm the inside, the more equipped I am to navigate what's happening on the outside. I'm doing fewer things with greater focus and impact, and the doing has an element of ease and joy that was never before possible. I used to always hear, less is more, but I didn't really believe it. I do now. My time is precious. Yours is too. Are you ready to do differently? What takeaway can you put into action today? Hit that new little button in the show description that says send us fan mail and tell us all about what you're going to put into action. That's all I have for today. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. By the way, if this feels daunting, I have a couple spots open right now in the Differently Coaching Experience. You can reach out to me directly at carla@carlareeves.com, and we'll schedule a strategy session to make sure it's a good fit. Or you can go straight to the website, carlareeves.com, and schedule a strategy call there. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Differently. It's been an honor to share this conversation with you. You know, one of the keys to living fully is to take action when you're inspired to do so. I hope you found that spark of inspiration today. And would you help us spread the word? Did someone you know come to mind while you were listening? If this episode could impact someone you know, please share it and pass it along. New episodes drop weekly, so tap that subscribe button and join us next time as we continue to challenge the status quo and get equipped to live life differently.